Hello and welcome to the Toasty Tavern. Come in, grab some ale, and sit back as you listen to me tell a story about probably myself or some other person that was a problem player. Today I'm going to just focus on myself and explain the story of the character I would like to call the Rat King. It all started as many questionable decisions do in college. My first foray into the fantastical world of Dungeons & Dragons was 4th edition. You know, 4th edition, that jank of a game that felt like an MMO, but done very wrong. It was a system I barely grasped, and when it came to character creation, I was awful at it. I landed on a paladin, noble, righteous, and kind of just not having a big stake. You know, I just wanted to be like the hero. And in a moment of probably desperately coming up with a funny character idea name, I named him Ash Ketchum. Now, our first quest was a classic clear out some pesky sewer rats. And this is where my journey in becoming maybe a problem player truly began. I wouldn't call myself a that guy. Maybe. Yeah, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Down in the murky depths, I encountered an old man with the group. The old man was yelling and claiming he was the Rat King. The rest of the party wasn't sure about killing him. They seemed like maybe if they could like knock him out, they could take him back up, but there were rats, okay? There were a lot of rats. The rats were so many. He clearly summoned these rats. I'm gonna stab him because I'm the paladin. And I charged in bravely, and you know, I killed that old man. He did not have that much HP. So turns out, crazy old man. And apparently, people were looking for him. So now the party didn't do anything wrong, and they just kind of, you know, pointed me out as the person that technically killed the old man, so off to jail I went. And this is where I think I would probably say the descent began. Firstly, I draped the new clothes that I acquired from slaying the old Rat King over myself, so now I am covered in dirty old rat pelts, and thus the new Rat King. And I asked the DM, what kind of food did they give me here in prison? The DM, thinking it was just nothing, it was bread and some cheese, you know, maybe a little bit moldy bread and some cheese. And I was like, perfect. And that's when I began my descent. I went over to the nearest rat hole I could find. I placed down the cheese and I offer it to the rats. The DM just kind of was like, oh, okay, roll animal handling, I guess. And I rolled it. The coveted natural 20. He described how a rat came out, and I befriended it. And you know what I named that rat? Pikachu. My truest, dearest rat companion, Pikachu. Now, of course, I just kept on going, and the rest of the group kinda kept up with it. They decided that they wanted me out. The fools. They cut me out on a technicality saying that I was probably crazy. I mean, look at him. Guy covered in rat pelts with a rat. And they suggested that I go to some kind of medieval psychiatric ward and, like, maybe do some kind of small sentence to get myself out or pay a fee or whatever. There was a court scene where I was arguing for myself and they thought I was definitely crazy. I was going full at it And you know what? I kept the persona. I loved him so much. I remember it now. Because even after the courtroom scene where I was very flourishy and I technically had a good charisma because I was a paladin, you know. After that, I went to where I was supposed to get the paperwork for my release. I went up to the lady that was manning the desk of this medieval psychiatric ward, and I was like, "My dear lady, it is I, the Rat King. I have come to claim my paperwork to show that I am of sound and stable mind. If you would, please hand over thy documents and release me so I may go and gather more rats for the fold." And the DM was like, roll a persuasion check. And of course, as in all good stories, I roll another natural 20. I'm going to tell you right now that a lot of my stories contain stupid rolls at stupidly good times, and that I'm gonna get other people to come on to the show, hopefully, at some point, like people that played with me and are somehow still my friend, to explain how ludicrous my rolls are. But, I got another natural 20, and I remember so vividly how the DM just looked at me, blinked a few times, opened up an imaginary file cabinet, and handed me an imaginary note saying I was free to go. And like, I loved it. He was a great DM. He loved taking action with the characters and trying to make it feel more real. Anyway, so off I went. A free man. From then on, combat rolls, they were all fine, average, but anything remotely rat related. And it was... I don't want to say it was always a critical success, but it felt that way. It was high rolls non-stop. One of the more vivid times I remember it, before we get to the crescendo, was me being like, "Hey, I don't have a tent, but I have a bunch of all of these dead rat pelts. Can I make a tent?" And he was just like, "Okay, roll a survival check, I suppose." And I did. I rolled another natural 20. The bless him. He was so supportive in a weird way, where he was like, "Okay, you know what? Fine. If we're going into this lunacy, I might as well just let you go off. You create not only a rat tent, but like a rat castle tent looking thing with it's so big, it's amazing, it's luxurious, and it smells like dead rat." And it was great. I loved all of it. And I'm sure the party was just waiting for me to fail at something and for this character to be done. They also got good laughs out of it, but I attribute that more to the DM than me. But I went with the bit, and I just continued. And our band of adventurers kept wandering from place to place when we finally arrived at a new, port town. And I don't know if the DM had finally reached his breaking point, but this was probably, I think this is what kind of made him need, a break. Just a little bit. I bought a flute, and I bought as much cheese as I could get my grubby little fingers on, and I headed into the sewers. The rest of the party was like, "Okay, we're gonna go find an inn," and I was like, "You know what? This is the port town. A good place for the Rat King to preside over. To the sewers I shall go, with my fruit and my cheese." And then I went down into the sewers. My goal? Well, that was to charm the local rat population into gathering all of the gold in the city for me. I would have them go and rob I went into so much detail about how I wanted them to rob the whole... I'm a paladin. I'm not a good person. Oh my god. Anyway, yeah, so I describe all of that. DM was like, okay, roll the dice. And I was like, okay. And I rolled. Natural 20. The DM was like, okay. Someone please confirm his dice. Person looked over my shoulder and was like, yep, it's another natural 20. So the DM faded to black. He took a minute and then described a parade of rats. An actual parade of rats. And at the head of it, on a golden throne, not like a real gold... Actually, I think he was describing it as like a legitimately like real throne. Carried by rats. Was me. The Rat King. I loved it, and everybody was just like, what the fuck is going on? It was so absurd. And a lot of the group were laughing too, thank goodness. The DM, again, I attribute all of the funniness to the DM because he rolled with it like a champ. However, this was a college group, and I like to think that it was just probably him feeling overwhelmed by a lot of it, and he just needing a break from probably me, the biggest distraction of the group. Moved me over to another group, and like we played for a few times, and we did get a resolution, but it was hard to get this group all together. The schedules just weren't lining up because again it was college. I mean, it's always hard. But eventually I became a were-rat. I became a true rat king, and I lived my days munching on cheese with my pet rat Pikachu. The were-rat. The were-rat king. Now. That's pretty much the end of the story. It didn't come with a big climactic end, I suppose, where it was like, oh, the team finally killed me, or I blew up at the DM, or I made the group hate me forever, because the group didn't hate me forever. And like after the other group disbanded, I was like, hey, can I come back in and join your group? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. And like it was all amicable. We played for years, which surprises me with the next story, where I would say that's where my problem player shined the most, and where I still have friends to this day as a surprising note, and hopefully I can get one of them or more to tell me their side of the story as they witness this all go down. As I'm going to tell the story next of the character I like to call the Blackguard. And trust me, the Rat King was silly and obnoxious, but the Blackguard was a problem. Thanks for joining me here at the Toasty Tavern. Hope you enjoyed your ale and enjoyed your story. I hope that you come back again. Please like and subscribe, and I bid you a farewell. Goodbye.